പറയാനുള്ളൂ.
Stories that define the day from every corner of the planet. That's right. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran, and this is the Tuesday edition of the World Report. The Trump administration is seeking a deal to limit Iran's nuclear program and ensure it does not develop nuclear weapons. Iran's top diplomat met with the head of the UN Nuclear Watchdog Agency on Monday ahead of a second round of negotiations with the US over Tehran's nuclear program. Now, talking to reporters Monday night about the Air Force One on his way to Washington, US President Donald Trump said one of the US-Iran talks, I'll be involved in those talks indirectly and they'll be very important and we'll see what can happen. Listen in to Trump.
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly and they'll be very important and we'll see what can happen. It's been typically Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators. Or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential. We had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Have you been told that a deal that's next to impossible?
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Well, we stay with the US where President Donald Trump has said that, quote, he has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein aboard the Air Force One on Monday evening. Trump told reporters that other people had in fact been pulled in after being named in the Epstein files, and he mentioned former President Bill Clinton at that. Listen in.
Nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know. They're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has struck arrangements in her. I've been totally exonerated on Epstein, and it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in, yeah.
Now we take you to Eurasia, where Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday that according to intelligence reports, Russia is, quote, preparing new massive strikes on energy. Now, any delay in supplying air defense missiles, any untimely delivery works for the scaling up of damage from strikes, said Zelensky in his nightly video address. That's right, he also urged partners to understand that the more of this evil comes from Russia, the harder it will be for everyone to reach any agreements with them. Adding that first and foremost, this concerns the United States. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian delegation was heading to Geneva on Monday for another round of US brokers' talks with Russian officials. Here's Zelensky for you.
Розвідка доповідає про підготовку росіян до подальших масованих ударів по енергетиці. Треба, щоб ППО було налаштовано правильно. Російські атаки постійно, якщо так можна сказати, еволюціонують. Зло теж розвивається, на жаль. Це комбіновані удари, які вимагають особливого захисту, відповідної підтримки від партнерів. Будь-яке гальмування ракет для ППО, будь-яке невчасне постачання працює на масштабування шкоди від ударів.
Well, now we shift our focus to the Middle East, where the United Nations has condemned the recent action by Israel to move ahead with measures to deepen its control over land in the West Bank. Spokesperson Stefan Dujarric for the UN Secretary General said that the action is not only destabilizing, but as recalled by the International Council of Justice, illegal and unlawful. Now, on Sunday, Israel announced it would resume a land registration process across the West Bank to require anyone with a claim to land to submit documents proving ownership. Now, rights group opined that the process could very well strip Palestinians of land they've lived on and farmed for generations, and also transfer vast swaths of land to the Israeli state control. Listen in.
Secretary General condemns the Israeli government's decision on 15th February to resume land registrations procedures in Area C of the occupied West Bank. That follows a decision by the Israeli cabinet in May of last year. The decision could lead to the dispossession of Palestinians of their property and risks expanding Israeli control over land in the area. Such measures, including Israel's continued presence in the occupied Palestinian territory, are not only destabilizing, but as recalled by the International Court of Justice, illegal, unlawful. He calls on the Israeli government to immediately reverse these measures. He again warns that the current trajectory on the ground is eroding the prospects for the two-state solution.
We get you updates from the land down under, where Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that his government will not repatriate from Syria a group of 34 women and their children with alleged ties to the Islamic State group. That's right, local Australian media showed Prime Minister Albanese speaking after Syrian authorities turned back the group of women and children on Monday. Now, they left a camp in Syria housing people with alleged ties to Islamic State militants in an attempt to head back to their home country. It was not clear if or when the group would be able to complete or return on their journey. The 34 women and children from 11 families were supposed to make their way from Roj camp to the Syrian capital Damascus and then fly to Australia. We get you some reactions.
What I can say is that we're providing absolutely no support and we are not repatriating people. We have no sympathy, frankly, for people who travelled overseas in order to participate in what was an attempt to establish a caliphate to undermine and destroy our way of life. And so, as my mother would say, you make your bed, you lie in it. It's unfortunate that children are impacted by this as well, but we are not providing any support. And if anyone does manage to find their way back to Australia, then they'll face the full force of the law if any laws have been broken.
Over to South Asia now, where after decades of dynastic politics and dramatic upheavals, Bangladesh finally will have a new Prime Minister in just hours from now. That's right, Tarique Rahman is set to take office after his Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or the BNP, secured a clear majority in the general election. Now, at 60 years old, Rahman becomes the first male Prime Minister in the country in 32 long years. That's right, more than 3 decades. And the latest torchbearer of one of Bangladesh's most powerful political dynasties. Here's a report.
For Tarique Rahman, politics was never a choice. It was inheritance. He is the son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia and former President Zia-ur-Rahman, the founder of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. His father, a war hero turned president, was assassinated in a military coup in 1981 when Rahman was just a teenager. 2 decades later, in 2001, Rahman formally stepped into politics during his mother's second term as Prime Minister. By 2002, he had risen to a senior position within the BNP. The opposition called it brazen nepotism. Supporters called it natural succession. Rahman developed a reputation as an enforcer, a man who tightened party discipline and consolidated control. But controversy followed closely behind. In 2007, during a military-backed caretaker government, Rahman was arrested on corruption charges. He claimed he was tortured in custody. After 18 months in prison, he was released and left for London, entering what would become a 17-year exile. Reports suggested he had agreed to step away from politics to secure his departure. Yet from abroad, Rahman remained central to BNP's strategy. In 2018, after Khaleda Zia was jailed, Rahman became the party's acting chairman. Meanwhile, under then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, he faced multiple cases, including allegations related to a deadly 2004 grenade attack. He denied all accusations and was later cleared of charges. On December 25, 2025, Rahman returned to Bangladesh. 5 days later, his mother passed away. On January 9th, he officially became BNP chairman. Now, with an electoral mandate secured, Rahman faces his greatest challenge yet. Can a leader shaped by exile and controversy unite a divided nation? Can he move beyond legacy and define his own chapter? Bureau Report, NDTV.
Over in Western Europe, rescuers waded through floodwaters in southwest France on Monday as the aftermath of a deadly storm continued to disrupt parts of the country. That's right, France has recorded 2 deaths linked to Storm Nils. One on Thursday in the Landes department and the second on Friday in the Tarique, officials said. Footage from the town in the Rariol region in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine on Monday showed submerged streets and rescue workers wading through floodwaters. Now, only last week, network operator NDTV said that the storm had left up to 900,000 customers without power at its peak. Meanwhile, with French President Emmanuel Macron set to meet PM Modi just a short while from now, here's a report on the many viral moments of the French president. Take a look. French President Emmanuel Macron is no stranger to viral moments. Blue-tinted aviator sunglasses, a confident smile. At the World Economic Forum, Emmanuel Macron dropped 2 words: for sure. The clip exploded online, memes started flying. DJs used it left, right, and center. The clip went so viral that Macron was later presented with a bottle of For Sure branded wine. In a separate video from Davos that went viral, Macron's sunglasses captured imagination of millions. The social media buzz was so high that it was referred to Tom Cruise's Top Gun. For the French luxury eyewear brand Henry Julien, the Davos debut was a goldmine. Its market value reportedly jumped by millions. Macron joked earlier that day that the look gave him the eye of the tiger, a reference to the movie Rocky III. But behind the blue tint, the message was razor sharp.
Non volontaire à l'œil du tigre en ce début d'année.
Davos was not the first time. The extra-long handshake with Donald Trump rocked the social media. Meanwhile, global news organizations were busy in breaking down body languages. This is not the end. Who will forget Macron's celebrations in Russia and later in France streets when they won the 2018 FIFA World Cup? Macron, drenched in rain, punching the air, celebrating France's victory with unfiltered joy in Moscow. And later in France, Macron joined thousands of fans in seeing dabbing on the streets. From diplomacy to digital spotlight, Macron sure knows how to own the moment. For sure. Bureau Report, NDTV. Well, with that, it's time we slip into a short break. Much more lined up on the other side for you.
The scriptures are trying to show us a treasure map to find happiness. If you discover that happiness, you've fulfilled your purpose in life. When you improve your mental immunity, your mental health improves. Bhagavad Gita gives us a manual for living life. How should you live your life? How should you conduct yourself in different situations?
Is your trip to Peru confirmed?
Male orcas stay with their mothers for life.
This is the moment Stephen chose to move out. It's fine to live with your mum if you live in the sea. The sea's massive. Unlike his mum's sofa, Stephen needed a boost to get his own place sooner. Hello, Mortgage Boost from Barclays. He could borrow more with help from family or friends and show that baby orca who's boss. Barclays, make money work for you.
So I've just got Sun Life's guaranteed over 50 plan. Super easy, no medical questions. I finally have the confidence to devote myself to my craft.
Woodwork?
I even made this.
Really?
With Sun Life, there's a guaranteed cash payout. But this is one less thing you'll have to spend it on.
Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Call or search Sun Life Plan today.
Children don't start wars. They don't drop bombs or fire rockets, but they suffer. They get hurt. and too many children die. So, after one of the worst years we've ever seen, we're asking if you can pick a side, the side of children everywhere, by supporting Save the Children with a monthly donation. We might look at a crisis and feel overwhelmed. If it feels too complex or too political, you wonder if you can make a difference. But you can. Lana's story is proof of that. She was the first baby born in our emergency health unit in Gaza. Her mum had lost her home and was living in a tent when she went into labour, and our team helped her give birth safely. But days later, Lana became dangerously ill with sepsis. We treated her with antibiotics and round-the-clock care. And against incredible odds, this newborn baby in Gaza survived. Lana survived because help reached her. But right now, as you watch this, thousands more children urgently need food, medicine and care. Your £5 a month can help us save lives. Please, act now, because children need you to pick their side today. Search Save the Children to give £5 a month.
Welcome back. On to updates from the world of business and technology. We're at the underway AI Impact Global Summit in New Delhi. Canadian provinces, Ontario's Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade Minister Victor Fedeli struck an upbeat business-first tone, mind you, pitching his province as the very cradle of artificial intelligence, while also calling for deeper India-Canada cooperation on areas including technology, trade, and of course, talent amid the global economic churn. Meanwhile, here's what Fedeli said, speaking exclusively to NDTV's Aditya Rajkot.
Let me begin by asking you about your interest in the AI summit here in India, and how do you see India's rise, when it comes to artificial intelligence and becoming a hub of the same? India has a huge service industry, but also when it comes to innovation, we're right there.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for making the time today to talk to us. You're correct. Ontario, Canada is the birthplace. It's the cradle of AI. Dr. Geoffrey Hinton just won his Nobel Prize last year for the discovery of machine learning. And since that time, Ontario has been at the forefront. And it's our duty. It's our duty to the people of Canada and to the people of the world to make sure that we're piercing forward. And that's why we have a place called the Vector Center in Toronto, which is Dr. Hinton's baby as well. And we're pumping out through Ontario 86,000 STEM graduates every year in Ontario, about 1,100 AI master every year. This year there's 1,700 AI masters enrolled, so it's very important, and we're very proud of India for taking on this role of an AI summit.
Today, India's focus has been on the global south, on the complexities of the artificial intelligence, and that's why these barriers are being removed. We have 75 countries coming in, a large participation from the global south as well. So do you think New Delhi could become, over the next 1 week, this melting pot of artificial intelligence, where more collaborations could be seen, one between New Delhi and Ontario?
Well, we like to think Ontario will always be the center of AI, but that being aside, look, there's a tremendous amount of AI work being done here, very leading edge work in India. Very proud of the work that India is doing. In Ontario, we've passed legislation to make sure that we're transparent with the people of Ontario, and we think it's a model that should be discussed at this AI summit and used worldwide. I think there are some real models to learn, not just about the technical aspects of AI that we've always provided to the world, but of these new approaches to transparency.
Well, we got more for you on the sidelines of the same AI summit. Ireland's Minister for Public Expenditure, Infrastructure, Public Service Reform and Digitisation, Jack Chambers, made a strong pitch for deeper India-Ireland engagement. Speaking exclusively to NDTV's senior executive editor Aditya Raj Kaul, Chambers said Ireland views India as a critical long-term partner, particularly as global supply chains are being reshaped by tariff shocks, conflicts, and of course, economic uncertainty. Take a look.
On the sidelines of the AI summit, I want to begin by asking you, how keen is Ireland to partner with India, and how do you see the overall summit here in New Delhi with participation from 70 different countries and a lot of emphasis not just on the regulations and ethics, but also the participation of the Global South?
Look, we really welcome the summit that's here this week, but we're really ambitious on the back of the free trade agreement to really deepen ties with India. We've seen a 90% increase in trade in the last 10 years, and that was in the absence of a free trade agreement. Ireland, like India, is an open, enterprising economy. We want to have the best of talent and business come to Ireland in terms of embedding opportunities that come from the European Union bloc. I know there's huge ambition in India to really leverage the opportunities of the free trade agreement. But we also want to ensure Irish businesses and enterprises can trade more with India and in India. So on the back of the free trade agreement, there's only going to be mutual benefit and growth between our two countries.
And there's been immense people-to-people contact and cultural connect and bond between Ireland and India. But there's also the businesses who are improving ties between these two countries. So what kind of emphasis in future in the backdrop of this trade deal with Ireland and India play? What are the key sectors that are you potentially looking at when it comes to India?
Well, it's obviously in tech, financial services, life sciences. We've prioritising investment, for example, in our semiconductor strategy, in our digital infrastructure. And we know a lot of the goods produced here in India will have new markets into the European Union. We've huge amount of innovation happening here, massive startup ecosystem. And a lot of that startup obviously want to trade within India, but also leverage the potential of the European Union. And Ireland is a welcoming place with fantastic international talent, some of whom are from India, some of whom are from elsewhere. We're a place that people want to live and work, and also with a favourable enterprise environment to allow that innovation to thrive in the European Union. So there's many sectors in which we can have shared collaboration.
A team of humanoid robots teamed up with young kung fu artists to deliver a knockout martial arts performance during the recently concluded China Media Group of the CMG's 2026 Spring Festival Gala on Monday. Now, the highly energetic display, as you see right there on your screen, mind-blowing display if I may, saw the versatile robots and young human kung fu masters perform a series of impressive, to say the least, choreographed stunts and synchronized moves in a breathtaking stage segment. From demonstrating the graceful elegance of martial art moves, the sequence soon moved to a more high-tempo display which showcased the agility and physical dexterity of these robots, leaving audiences in awe. Now, the robots also use traditional kung fu weapons such as swords and nunchucks, demonstrating impressive speed, balance, coordination, and precision. All of this as they executed the pulsating performance in style. Anastasia Kucherova, a Russian living in Milan, voiced her opposition to Russia's war against Ukraine with a highly symbolic, if anonymous, act. Now, carrying the Ukrainian team placard during the opening ceremony of the Milan Cortina Winter Games, Kucherova was swathed in a long hooded silver puffer coat, her eyes covered with dark glasses, like all the other placard bearers for the 92 nations competing in the Olympics. But that's not it. The Ukraine sign was illuminated for the crowd to read. At first, the country assignments were going to be random, but later the choreographer asked if volunteers had preferences. And to no surprise, Kucherova chose Ukraine. Robert Duvall, the Oscar-winning actor known for his roles in The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, has died at the age of 95. His death was confirmed by his wife, Luciana Duvall, who posted a rather heartfelt tribute on Facebook. Yesterday, we said goodbye to my beloved husband, cherished friend, and one of the greatest actors of our time, she wrote. Here's a report. Oscar-winning actor Robert Duvall has died at the age of 95. His wife, Luciana Duvall, confirmed he passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by family. Duvall was one of Hollywood's most respected actors, with a career spanning more than 6 decades and over 60 films. He was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and won Best Actor in 1984 for Tender Mercies.
Just a minute.
He's best known for playing Tom Hagen in The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore in Apocalypse Now, and Boo Radley in Killer Mockingbird. Duvall was born in 1931 in San Diego. He trained as an actor in New York before moving into film in the early 1960s. In 2015, he became the oldest male acting Oscar nominee at the time for his role in The Judge. Tributes have been paid by co-stars including Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Robert Duvall leaves behind a long career defined by powerful, understated performances that have literally shaped American cinema. And well, those are all the updates we have for you this Tuesday on the World Report. Take care and have a wonderful day.
When I woke up, they said, "Alyssa, you've got leukemia." We found out that the chemo wasn't working. So at that point, it was like, I'm gonna die. My consultant was looking for these clinical trials, and she found this one at Great Ormond Street. I'm cancer-free now.
Curing Alyssa was a world first, but cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK. Will you help us do more? Search Gosh Care to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital, a home for breakthrough research with world-class facilities to help beat cancer for more children. Together, with your kind support, we can help save lives and transform children's cancer care for decades to come. Text CARE to 70125 to give £3 a month and help build our new children's cancer centre. Together, we can beat cancer for more children.
From the lens of diplomacy and foreign affairs, what is the transformation that you're seeking, not just next year, but in time moving forward? And what does transforming tomorrow mean to you, Dr. Jaishankar?
You know, obviously transforming tomorrow can have a variety of meanings to each person in their own profession or their calling, or as as an Indian, I can think of what tomorrow would mean for India. So, if I were to put it all together, I mean, clearly all of us would like to see tomorrow an India which would be economically much stronger, which would technologically be much more so. And I feel, people don't always make that correlation as strongly as they do, which would, build up its manufacturing. That too is a conviction I hold very deeply, that, we should be an industrial power. But from my particular perspective, tomorrow where we are actually able to navigate what I foresee as almost a generation of uncertainty. After all, look at it this way. Many of the assumptions that we held just a few years ago, perhaps the key assumptions are all a question mark. We had an assumption that globalization is here to stay. It is, in a manner of speaking, but it is under severe challenge in many ways. We had an assumption that the United States will always be a stabilizer of the international system. I think that's a very questionable assumption.
Stories that define the day from every corner of the planet. That's right. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran, and this is the Tuesday edition of the World Report. The Trump administration is seeking a deal to limit Iran's nuclear program and ensure it does not develop nuclear weapons. Iran's top diplomat met with the head of the UN nuclear watchdog agency on Monday ahead of a second round of negotiations with the US over Tehran's nuclear program. Now, talking to reporters Monday night about the Air Force One on his way to Washington, US President Donald Trump said one of the US-Iran talks, "I'll be involved in those talks indirectly and they'll be very important and we'll see what can happen." Listen in to Trump.
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their